My saliva is already building up. I can feel it now. I'm like hypersensitive to it. Don't smack. All right.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey.
What's going on?
Nada tostada.
So this episode is just going to be us. No guests.
No guests
today. Just
today.
raw and uncut.
Hope you're not sad.
Right? Sorry, guys. No, just the two of us.
Yeah, so this weekend, this last weekend, my mom came into town. And so she has a house in, it's South Florida, but not really. It's like Southwest.
Yeah, it's on the West Coast.
Florida. Okay. Do you agree or not? So anyway, she was in town, and she booked us a hotel from Margaritaville, which is like only 30 minutes away from us.
Right.
And so we stayed there this weekend, and we were originally going to record with Heather and Emily talking about our new laser courses that we all announced, but logistics just didn't really work trying to record in the hotel room with the baby and JR, and
right.
Normal schedules were not adhered to, and it was just going to be too difficult. So we are recording now that we're home. And Jackson apparently wants to be on this episode. What?
Oh, really?
Excuse me, sir.
So that was your Glowforge experience, huh?
Okay. Did you have a great weekend? With Mama C and Papa C? Are you going to let us record? Oh, and side note, let me apologize with this. All right. With this little cold I got, I listened to last week's episode, and there was a lot of lip smacking. So I apologize for that. I'm going to be a little more conscious of that this week. Didn't know that I was doing that, but it was real annoying when I was listening to the playback. So, there was one for you, but I attempted to take it away from the mic. Anyway, so this week it's just us, and next week Heather and Emily and I are going to talk more about our courses. So I don't want to talk about that too much. Hopefully Jackson isn't too distracting. He's apparently very talkative today.
So we are not recording on our normal Monday nights where he's usually asleep.
Right. He's awake and staring at me and talking away.
For those of you on Patreon, we recorded this yesterday.
Right. Super late.
Right.
But that's what happens when you throw in a weekend vacation.
Staycation.
On your normal recording time. So here we are.
It goes into the topic we decided to talk to today, because we went to Margaritaville and got the resort, the resort feel.
Yeah.
And basically got like waited on hand and foot. Like just, everything, like we did the cabana on the pool and everything. The cabana
was awesome.
Right. So today's topic for us is Imposter Syndrome.
Yeah. And self-confidence and all that kind of stuff. So.
And there was a little bit of that for me anyway during the resort. Yeah. Because again, we're in the cabana, we're with the valet and everything.
Right.
It's just like it feels a little like out of sorts. I'm used to going to going to a hotel or whatever and going to the pool like just normal. Yeah. And
this
was very much like when we
normal folk fighting for a chair, right. Maybe an umbrella if you're lucky.
Walking to the bar, getting your drink, and coming back. Right. And this was very much sort of like when we went on our honeymoon in Dominican Republic. Right. You get the the resort, the all inclusive. Right. Although this one wasn't all inclusive, everything was paid for, but you still got that feel.
Yeah.
And we talked about this the other night.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned.
So Heather and I joke about, we all have big goals for our businesses. And we joke about being on Millionaire Island someday. Mm-hmm. It's just a made up island, but it's, just being successful but we joke about it and call it Millionaire Island. And so I said something to you last week and I mentioned Millionaire Island and you legit rolled your eyes.
Now, to be fair, I was highly intoxicated.
Yes. But still,
I did an eye roll.
And, it was a big eye roll, too. And I was like, why are you rolling your eyes at my dreams, bro?
Right. And it was what was it? It was something really big.
Oh, man. I don't even remember. I think we might have been talking about a nicer house or cars something. I don't know what. And I said something like, oh, well, that's totally possible on Millionaire Island or, something like that.
So it was something huge.
And so then we got on this huge, this basically a deep conversation. We started talking about it for an hour.
Well, because clearly I had to explain my dramatic eye roll.
Right.
Because it wasn't that I was shitting on your dreams.
Yeah.
Or that I wasn't on board or here we go again.
Right.
It was more so of unattained, to me personally, like I was saying, it can feel unattainable. Yeah. Many people's dream car is a Ferrari.
Right.
But how many of them actually get the Ferrari?
Right.
Or living on the ocean. Well, it's a dream that's kind of unattainable.
Right.
So,
and you were saying that what we have already makes you feel guilty.
It's far more. Yeah, it's far more than I ever thought I'd have. Honestly, when I growing up, we have someone that comes and cleans the house twice a month.
Right.
And for me to have a cleaning lady was that's what the rich kids do.
Uh-huh.
They have the cleaning lady.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be in a position to where I would even think of having a cleaning lady.
Yeah.
And then, same goes for having a house.
Right, a 4-bedroom, 2-bed house.
With a pool. Again, to me, in school,
that was the rich kids.
The kids who had the pools were the rich kids, even though
and
it was
far
South
from
Florida.
Rich.
Right. Well, that's, yes. but we're living.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, like JR. If I was in JR's class, I would look at him as a rich kid.
Yeah.
And we are far from it, like you said, but that's how I look at it. So, in that mindset, even what we have now, is something that to me, I look at in awe sometimes of myself, of how far we've come.
Right.
And then,
I agree.
We talk about a lot with you and, where Riley Black is now to where it started in such a relatively short period of time.
Yeah.
So I had to justify my eye roll and we had that deep conversation because it's hard to picture something that huge.
Right.
Again, even this now.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you get parts of imposter, do I deserve this?
Right.
Who do I think I am?
Yeah. Let me look up really quick the definition
of imposter
for those
syndrome.
who may not know.
Yeah. I know it as just feeling like you're if anyone finds you out.
Yeah, so imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. It disproportionately affects high-achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. You have it too, buddy? Yeah, so I've always felt that way as far as my laser journey. It took a long time for people to, I guess, validate it. And that's not really what I was looking for, but it took a lot of people saying that I had something or requesting my designs or, that kind of stuff for me to actually believe it. I didn't think I didn't think I was anything outside of just the normal person. And I don't really think I am still.
Right.
But so with the course, one thing I'll read, hold on, let me find that. There was someone who joined my new group Silhouette for Lasers, for Silhouette Studio users who are making designs for the laser. So one of the questions to join my group is, what are you hoping to learn by joining the Silhouette for Lasers group? And her answer was, anything at all. Your video last year about nodes and Silhouette literally paid our house note. And we were eating breakfast when I saw that. And it caught me off guard in a good way. I was like, wow, holy crap, that like some video I did last year that I was, mind you, extremely nervous about doing, like paid her mortgage for the month. It was crazy to me that I could not really like have that power, but that me sharing my skills could benefit someone in that way.
Right.
And so, I reached out to her and I said, let's see. So her name is, Andrea, I think. I don't never know if it's on Andrea or Andrea, whatever. So Andrea, Mistrick. So I messaged her and I said, hey, I just saw your comment while I was doing member approvals and had to say hello. I had no idea that that video could impact someone like that. Thank you so much for sharing. It made my morning. And she replied with, it truly did. I think it was your first video because y'all were joking about being nervous. Learning how to manipulate those freaking red dots took the idea from my head and made it a reality, and one that people seem to like. I didn't know what nodes were, what they did, how much they matter. Probably would have given up and sold my machine without that breakthrough. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge. If I can ever help in any way, please let me know. So, yeah, that was even just crazier how much she like drilled in really how impactful it was for her, and that, you know, she was ready to just sell her laser and give up. And the quick little tutorial that I did that I wanted to like throw up about, made such a difference for her. So it takes those comments for me to kind of get out of this I don't have anything worth sharing moments to make it like, oh, okay, I can continue to help people. And with this course, I was really struggling with going from sharing free content that didn't have to be, you know, perfect or great or, you know, and even if it was worth nothing, that's okay because I gave it to you for free. So you can't come for me, you know?
Right. Well, it's almost like us recording today.
Right.
Like we might, had it not been for Patreon, we might have skipped.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
But since you guys are subscribed and are, you know.
Yeah. We got to hold up.
Yeah. We got to hold up
our end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so switching from free content to paid content, again, with the Patreon and now with eventually this course when we get it out, I was struggling with, do I actually have something that people want to pay for?
Right.
If it wasn't for Heather and Emily, I likely would have never, ever done a course. I wouldn't have even considered it.
Right, wouldn't have been in the realm.
No, not even a little bit, because I just don't have that confidence that I actually have something worth sharing and charging for.
Right.
And that's that, you know, the self-confidence and imposter syndrome that definitely it's a daily thing. I think about it all the time. And I have, you know, brief moments of like, oh, okay, like I do have something good in that, like, you know, our podcast, we're approaching 6,000 plays and people actually want to listen to it. Right. And
which I'm surprised.
And we have, you know, 6 Patreon members now. And I'll save this towards the end and tell you who our 6th member is, because it's pretty big.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, even this just started as for me, like, an idea.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, let's do a podcast.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, there's not really any laser ones. Let's try
it.
Right.
Right. And I mean, even though I knew there was a community already established,
yeah,
I didn't think it would take off
no,
like
not
it
at
has.
All. Yeah.
And I mean, we've come so long. Like, I can only imagine. I want to go back and listen to our first one, our first couple.
I do, but I don't. It's
because I feel like we're a lot more comfortable now with it than we were day one, and we're really 100%. We're still kind of in the big scheme of thing in day one of podcasting. Like, we haven't really like done anything. But.
Yeah, and just even in like the podcast. How our podcast numbers, then I look at like my Etsy numbers, and I have I think almost 7,500 sales on my Etsy, and I had just started that hoping to make, a couple $100 a month to, maybe pay for my car payment, or maybe have a little bit of extra spending money and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's grown into this crazy beast that it is. And I can go months without, submitting a new design, and I'm still getting daily sales.
Right.
And that's just crazy to me.
And I think also part of the imposter syndrome is you want to stay humble. You want to stay.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like we're gloating about all of our achievements, but you kind of have to.
It feels awkward to say.
Right. You kind of have to kind of give yourself the picture that everybody else sees.
Right. Yeah.
Of who you are and what your company is, because a lot of times we're stuck just doing it, and we're just you're just normal people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and you don't really. People see you differently than you see yourself.
100%. Yeah.
So sometimes take a step back and look at your accomplishments, help you kind of validate your imposter syndrome. Like,
right.
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no, well, wait a minute. It seems like I do know what I'm doing, because, I got this, I have that, mm-hmm. This has come from doing this.
Right.
So it's, I mean, it kind of sounds like you're gloating.
Yeah.
And you're, whatever, but it's really
recognizing your accomplishments.
Right. It helps you
to
kind of bring yourself to like this is reality.
Right.
It's not a dream. You're not an imposter. Like, this is reality, and you've learned along the way.
Right.
So it's not like, you woke up to this.
No.
Although it feels like it.
Yeah.
Because you still remember
who you were. It definitely wasn't given to us. That's for sure.
Right. You still remember who you were, making t-shirts and, when you first got the Glow
I'm self-taught in silhouette.
That's what I mean.
Since I've announced this course, a couple people have like thrown out the term of like, oh yeah, they've said, oh, so-and-so is a certified silhouette instructor. That is not me. Although I have looked into it, it's not me at all. I'm not certified. I'm not anything. I taught myself struggling through t-shirt designs and laser designs that I wanted to bring to life. And I'd have to watch days and days and days of YouTube videos to try and find what I wanted to do when I didn't know what it was called.
Right.
It's one thing to look up a YouTube video and like, hey, how to draw a flower, right? There's no terminology needed there, right? Well, when I need to learn how to
manipulate,
release or make a compound path, I don't know that that's called a compound path.
Right.
So I don't know what I'm looking for on YouTube when I'm searching for it. So you have to watch all of these videos, and I swear to God, they are all like 20, 30 minutes long. And so you're trying to skip through, hoping that you're not missing any valuable content, but then also not waste your time in watching all these videos that are not what you need to see. And then nodes, I had no idea that's what those little dots were called. So looking up how to adjust them, I don't know what they are. Adjusting the dots in silhouette? No, that's probably not what it's called. So, I struggled in the beginning of teaching myself, and I'd finally figure it out, but then I had struggled for days, And then once I needed to do it again in a couple weeks, I couldn't remember what I did because I tried 4 million things and I didn't remember which one actually did what I needed it to do. And like, there's a tool, I just did it again, lip smacking. There's a tool in Silhouette where it's the subtract tool where you can use, say there's a square and I want a circle cut out of the inside of the square. I couldn't figure out why sometimes I would do that it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And you have to have the layers in a certain order, right? And so I need to have the square layer on the back and the circle layer that I want to cut out on the front, and then select them both and hit subtract. If I have it opposite, it won't work. And it took me a long time to figure out, why it would work sometimes and not others. Right. So little things like that, that, I had to like struggle through in the beginning because, again, sure, there are tutorials and stuff out there, but I don't know what I'm looking for, or they don't apply to lasers specifically. And so sure, that would work for t-shirts, but that's not going to work when I go to try and engrave this.
Right.
On a laser, because you need it a little bit differently depending on what the project is. So being self-taught, I didn't know if I was doing things correctly. Right. This was just the way I stumbled. Right. Exactly. And I remember there was once where someone in another laser group did a tutorial on editing nodes. And it was in a different program. I think it was either in Illustrator or maybe it was Lightburn. I think it was Illustrator. And they were showing how they manipulated them. And it's kind of tedious when you're trying to manipulate nodes to make score lines. So say if you've ever seen an ornament that has like a circle edge and you're welding like the name crystal inside that circle cutout. Well, when you weld crystal to that edge, you lose a tiny bit of my name, of like the C and the L that connects to each side. Well, when you use score lines, you can keep some of those lines there that, where the name and that circle overlaps. Mm-hmm. And it makes it so it's a little bit easier to read and that name kind of still pops. Mm.
Okay.
Well, it felt kind of tedious because you have to delete all of those nodes in between that circle. And I didn't know or feel that I was doing it correctly. And then I saw someone else provide a tutorial in a completely separate program, and it was the same way. It was probably called different things.
Right.
But they were doing it the same way of, deleting those, could be 10, 20, 30 nodes in between to just keep the ones on the edge so that you could do a little score line. And I was like, holy crap, I'm doing it the right way. I'm not doing it the long way.
Or at least one other person is also doing it the
exactly,
long way.
Right. And so it was like another little validation moment of, oh, yay.
Right.
I stumbled upon this, after like a lot of trial and error. And the nodes in Silhouette I found accidentally. When you say you have like a shape, if you double click on that shape, the nodes menu pops up and like all the nodes are shown and you can edit them. I found them accidentally. I double clicked on it and I was like, oh, what are these? And so then I play around with them and move them, up, down, around. And I was like, oh, I can change the shape of this. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, that means I can make, this or that. And before I got my iPad, that's actually how I drew my designs. It was a lot harder. I'm trying to think. I drew a flower, one of my first files that I sold. I drew a flower 100% in silhouette just by manipulating nodes, not drawing anything. So, I mean, that flower took me probably a week, where had I had an iPad and when I practiced that and I drew it in Procreate and then transferred it to Silhouette and traced it and then kind of clean up the nodes. I mean, I could do that, maybe a couple hours compared to about a week that it took me to do it in Silhouette. But
well, also you have other resources now. And as you went along, you have Heather and so you can bounce things off of them and how hey, how would you do this? Yeah. To kind of help validate or to give you new tricks.
And I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this before, and Heather has admitted that she doesn't really listen to the podcast. She's not a podcast girl.
No, she listens to the intro
She listens
bit,
to the little intro bit, and that's pretty much it. But anyway, I don't know that I've said this before, but thank goodness for Heather as my mentor. She's also my laser bestie, as we call her. But without her, I don't think I would have ever had the confidence to do most of what I've done. I don't know that I ever would have really felt comfortable selling my designs on Etsy. She started hers and was doing well. And so then, she kept pushing me to start mine. Same with this course. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have thought I had anything to share with the world. Her getting an Eon, I don't know that I would have ever thought I had the confidence to work one of these industrial machines. I still struggle with that sometimes. Thank goodness to Heather, because she is the reason I've gotten over my I can't do this attitude that my brain kind of gives me.
Well, that's another kind of tip for, I guess, imposter syndrome. Sometimes
find you need a Heather.
Well, sometimes you need that push or that you've done this, you can surely do that, or you can figure it out. So find yourself like a Heather or someone who pushes you.
Well, and that note from that person who joined the group, it really was the turning point in stop with the negative thoughts or talk or just negativity in general. I need to believe I can do it. I need to, positive thoughts.
Right.
And her giving me that little bit of validation was oh, okay, I can do this. I do have something worth sharing, and I need to stop with the people don't want to hear from me, or people don't want my designs, or I can't be successful, or I can't have more. We've all had those bad days, right? Where you're grumpy and you're pissed off and you have all this negativity, and your day typically just seems to be getting worse because you're just negative self-talk.
Right.
And when you do that, you just kind of welcome and bring in more negativity. But if you're not sitting there and thinking about, positive thoughts of, I can do this, I'm going to do this. Sure, there might be some bumps in the road, but I can get past those. Not focusing on the positive, you can self-sabotage yourself.
Right, yeah.
So just making sure that you just keep going and you believe in your skills and your ability. And if you don't know it, you can learn it. And just keep on swimming. As Dory says.
Just keep on keeping on.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's also I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was even last week, where you were talking about getting someone big in the community or someone big in the whatever.
I got 2.
Right. But the people you were telling this to were like, well, we consider you as like the go-tos as well. Like we consider you in the same conversation.
Someone had posted that on the Riley Black Project Facebook page of saying, I was like, oh no, because it was Dan, the CEO of Glowforge. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, that's big time. And he was like, but you are big time to us. And I was like, what? Big time,
right. Yeah. So it's like, it's again, it's those things that kind of put into perspective where you really are. Mm-hmm. And, kind of like, oh, well, wait a minute. I guess I have grown to this level.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we have a couple episodes that have almost 300 plays.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
weird. Like, it's just crazy to me.
We're just sitting here on the couch having a conversation.
Right.
And apparently you all love to hear it. You
guys actually like it.
Yeah.
I don't hate the sound of my voice anymore. I've gotten used to it.
You get used to it. And you get used to the feed, in your ear from the headphones and everything like that. It's definitely, we're self-taught here as well.
Yeah, true. We're just winging it.
Yeah, I just listened to a lot of podcasts and decided to hit record one time on my conversations.
Yeah.
And then we just find people to talk to.
Yeah. And so I reached out to 2 people in the industry that I consider kind of like big time. And I asked one of them if they would be on the episode, and he responded immediately with heck yes. And then the other one said, I thought you'd never ask. And both of those responses were like, what?
Right, yeah.
Like, I was just surprised that, like, they weren't like, oh, sure.
Yeah, let me think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Or, they did not hesitate. And so that, again, was another, like, crazy, validation for me. And so I guess this would be a good time to announce who our 6th Patreon subscriber is.
Who's that?
And a future guest. And it's Mark with Big Blue Laser Designs.
Oh.
And you probably have no idea who he is. But
it sounds vaguely familiar. I mean, you must have talked about him.
Especially in the beginning, I talked about him a lot because when I was struggling to just figure stuff out, I bought a lot of his designs, and buying his designs gave me the skills I needed to figure out how to make them myself. So I highly encourage people who are trying to just figure it out in the beginning, buy designs from a reputable seller who has, tons of sales or something. Buy it from them, and you see how, because seeing the project he does doesn't tell you what the design looks like.
Okay.
The design on your computer and what you turn it into after painting, gluing, and what do you call it? Propping your photo. Mm-hmm. They aren't the same.
Okay.
So seeing what a design looks like for, say, his, I think one of the first few was his phone stands. It was like, what does that even look like as far as the design? Mm-hmm. How did he cut that to make the finished product look like that? And so I bought a lot of his designs in the beginning just to show me, how
to translate
the end product into the design. Right. And I still hate that 4-letter word kerf, but it was his designs, and I mean, I was in his DMs saying, why the heck won't this work? And he took a lot of time out of his own, schedule to try and help me through it and walk me through it and try this, do this, have you done this, so thankfully for him, I kept going. And even to the point where my designs that require kerf or kerf adjustments, I link his YouTube video in my description of my file listing of if you need more help in this area, go check out his YouTube video. I know Kerf enough to do it for me. You'll never see a course from me on Kerf. I don't think that's ever, you never know about what the future holds, but right. I can pretty much bank on the fact that you won't be getting that from me. So I use him even to this day to explain Kerf because he just has this, he understands it well enough to teach right. and show other people. But yeah, so that was a huge, I guess, win for me of kind of like, hey, Mark wants to be, or, right. Is willing to be on our podcast and willing to subscribe to our content. And, he was also on the big spender level, $12 right. a month. Right. And it's just.
Well, that goes into it as well. Mm-hmm. Like, we were.
We weren't even going to offer that option.
Right. I wasn't. I was like, no one's going to.
Who wants to spend $12 right. a month to hear from us?
Right. Just to get a
free file.
And that
level, is a free file. Right. Mark doesn't want nor need my files, right. is what it feels like. Right. And who knows? Maybe he could use actually my earring bundle file to make some earrings for his wife or a friend, and he doesn't have to create it himself. That's right. why I still sometimes buy designs myself because, one, I don't have the time or the desire to make it myself. If somebody has already made it and it looks exactly like I maybe pictured in my head, I'm just going to go buy your design. Sure, I'm not going to make any money from it, but now I've made that thing for the person I want to make it for, and I didn't have to go through the effort of drawing, testing, and right. completing the file myself. So super exciting. Mark Collier, I think is how you say his last name. He is now a Riley Black Project patron and future guest. So that's cool. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And big shout out to him because he, like I already said, he helped me a lot in the beginning, even when he didn't really know it, as far as like just putting out his designs and his creativity and all that. I strived right. to, I'm pretty sure I told him several times, in my early stages, I want to be like you when I grow up. So, and I feel like I'm kind of close to that. Yeah. Yeah. That I could be Mark when I grow up. Not exactly, but, and then the other one that we secured was the president of Aeon Lasers USA.
Eon?
Damn it. Let me try that again. The president of Eon Lasers USA, Danny Martinez.
Oh.
He was the one who I said, hey, would you like to be on our podcast? And he said, I thought you'd never ask. So that's exciting. Yeah. I want to talk to him about, how Eon has grown, like, over the last year or two. It's huge. From when Emily bought one and I'd never heard of them mm-hmm. to where they are now. And I just want to hear about all the bumps along the road and, right. what his passions are and where he sees it going and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, but I think that's probably a good place to
wrap
end
it up.
Yeah. Sure, we're all going to have our bad days, our negativity where maybe that project isn't working, that design isn't working. Maybe you put all of this time and effort into a design and nobody wants it. It's a flop. I've had those as well. You're so excited about it and who knows, maybe you posted it at the wrong time with the stupid algorithms, or it just wasn't, didn't translate well in maybe your photos or,
honestly, like looking ahead, you have a great holiday season mm-hmm. and then sales slump. Like, right. Your sales just go to shit mm-hmm. and you think, oh, what was I thinking?
Right.
Like this isn't, I can't do this.
Yeah. It won't happen if you don't try.
Right.
So if you have a flop, just brush yourself off and try the next thing. And you never know what will take off. I have heard it so many times of who knew that this would be my bestseller. Right. The things, it's almost a given. If you think it's going to be a bestseller, it isn't. And if you don't think it is, those are the ones that end up being your bestseller. And sometimes it can be an old thing that all of a sudden the right person got a hold of, and now it's
or it comes into
this
trend.
Hit. Exactly. So just keep on keeping on, and you'll find your thing. And it's almost never the thing you thought was going to be your thing. So,
yeah. And if you need to find more things, you could always come to the Riley Black Project.
Yes. Or go to my Etsy. I have some things on there that might be your thing.
So that's the Riley Black Project on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon,
Etsy.
Not project.
Yeah, not the
it's
project.
Riley Black Designs.
Yeah, and I did add that post in the Facebook group of, all the many different ways to support us. I have my link tree on there, which has all of my different social media pages and all that stuff. So follow us on all the things. We're everywhere.
And we were just talking about this before recording.
What?
Hit us up on the Facebook on our Facebook page, and let us know if putting this on YouTube without video is a thing. Like, would you guys like to see, obviously there would be nothing to see except our wall art.
Yet.
But, is YouTube more of your thing? Are you only listening to podcasts because, obviously we want the hits here too.
Right.
But is YouTube a thing without the video? Would you like to hear us on YouTube as well? Because we were floating that idea around.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have, actually have 350 subscribers to my whack-ass YouTube.
Are neglected. It's very neglected.
It's a little whack. It was new. I only have, I have under 15 videos, and I never really got to the point. Sure, they were starting to improve, and then I kind of just stopped. Because they were a lot of work, and I got busy. I was struggling the end product of my videos were not what I was picturing in my head, and I didn't know how to get it there.
Right.
And so I was struggling with that. So I do want to show more attention to YouTube. I just don't know how. I don't know how to do it in a way that I actually like the content that's coming out, and it's not a ton of extra work, because let's be real, I have a ton on my plate already that I can't get to.
Well, then here's another one. Let us know what you'd like to see from us on YouTube.
Yeah, that would help too.
Yeah.
And
aside from the podcast.
Right. And if the podcast on YouTube with, again, no video along with it yet is something you guys would care to see or not.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
And that's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.